Wait, you're telling me this is a legit Metal Gear Solid experience and that I've been sleeping on it for so long? So, you remember that part in MGS2 when Snake and Otacon explained that they were part of this organization to get rid of all the Metal Gears called Philanthropy?
Don't you forget that you're part of Philanthropy now, an anti-Metal Gear organization and officially recognized by the UN.
About how Snake and Otacon already pulled off many dangerous missions before. Ever wondered what all these previous missions would be like? So what if I told you we already got a game focused exactly on that? And I had no idea it even existed. And what platform would you think such an amazing concept of a game would be playable on when it was released in 2008? The Nintendo DS? The Sony PSP? Nope. This was released exclusively on mobile phones? Ah, for fuck! Elation and jubilation, gamers from all around the world. I am Lucian and this is the World Gamer Show. And today we're going to sneak our way into the N-Gage library to take a look at the best forgotten Metal Gear game you've never played. Metal Gear Solid Mobile. Is this a legit Metal Gear experience, or would we best sneak past this one? Well, let's find out.
Kept you waiting, huh?
Metal Gear Solid Mobile was published by Konami, but developed by the capable hands of IdeaWorks 3D, who are they alone responsible for basically half of the gaming library of the N-Gage and supervised by longtime director of the series, Hideo Kojima. It was released for various mobile phones only in the US and Japan, and exclusively on the Nokia N-Gage 2.0 digital store in Europe, which is not to be confused with the taco-shaped N-Gage hardware. N-Gage 2.0 is the unofficial name for the digital store built in the many 2008 Nokia phone models, and this is the version we're going to play today. As I just said, MGS Mobile came out in 2008, the same year as MGS4, and 2 years after 2006 PSP game Portable Ops. So in a way, we already had our fix for a true MGS experience on the go. But then, is this MGS Mobile anything to write home about? Well, let's start from the beginning.
Bang!
Our protagonist is our favorite Solid Snake, who needs to infiltrate a military facility to stop the terrorists from further making Metal Gear war machines. As usual, we can count on the remote support of Otacon to lead our way. The game takes place between MGS 1 and 2, and explores a little bit more of the Philanthropy organization, which focuses to eradicate the constant growing threat of Metal Gear, the bipedal war machine capable of nuclear assault, after many countries managed to lay their hands on the projects to build their own. If you enjoyed the dynamic duo's interaction in MGS1 or MGS2, heck, even in MGS4,
Can't believe you're so abusive. I'm Mark II.
you will feel right at home in mobile. Even though Snake sounds a little bit more sarcastic than usual, which, while a little bit out of character in my opinion, I find this even funnier than usual. The plot itself starts from this really good premise of being the missing link between MGS 1 and 2, but in the end, it is really nothing to write home about, even though it's still full of twists and turns, or at least it tries. And it is not a Kojima game, it was only supervised by him according to the credits, which basically makes it non-canon, so you don't really miss anything. Without getting into spoiler territory, it feels as if the plot can't keep its mouth shut and telegraphs with way too much advance any plot twist it clumsily tries to build up. And beyond that, it also recycles a ton of plot tropes from previous games, including the classic Deep Throat character and many others which I won't spoil here. Still, the ending ties quite nicely to MGS2, so at least there's that. But you don't really expect a damn phone game to match the story of the best Metal Gear games now, do you? Actually, I wasn't even expecting a proper MGS experience on a freaking 2008 phone. Instead, I was pleasantly surprised. Snake can sneak past guards, shoot in first person, lean on walls with the classic rotating camera, crawl, consult the Soliton radar at any time, and the game even has a camouflage system like in MGS3 and 4. It has many more things going for it than I was expecting. It even has proper VR missions, and they look great. I mean, not everything has been implemented in the most elegant way.
What do you mean by that?
For example, Snake can only move in 4 directions, no diagonals unfortunately. We are all back to the classic NES movement type, but there is a good reason for that. Phones from 2008 and prior to that had a very small numeric keypad, which will make it almost impossible to comfortably maneuver the character diagonally, so it only makes sense that the developers simplified the movement mechanic. However, the rest is pretty much intact. Snake can run, shoot, lean on walls, and even attract the guards by knocking on said walls.
Age hasn't slowed you down one bit.
He can open lockers and hide inside them just like in MGS2. Heck, there are even posters inside many of the lockers, which is a completely needless detail, and yet it's there, and I can't help but applaud it. Crawling is now done automatically by pressing the action button when Snake is close to a tunnel or a vent or a bed or whatever. But honestly, it was barely useful in MGS 1 and 2, aside from very few circumstances anyway, so I didn't miss the ability to crawl at will. Snake can even aim and shoot in first person, allowing him to headshot guards from a distance. Well, not really from a distance, you need to be pretty close to your target unfortunately. Otherwise, I've noticed that the shot won't register, which is a bummer and kind of defeats the purpose. Moreover, you can't seem to shoot down cameras unfortunately. I'm not sure if the developers did all this on purpose, otherwise nothing will prevent me from headshotting everybody the moment I enter a room or take down all the cameras from a distance. But still, why give me the ability to shoot in first person if then I can't use this skill my own way? Well, at least the developers unintentionally, or maybe intentionally, addressed one of the criticisms towards the Twin Snakes, which allowed you to one-shot everybody and every camera in an instant, making the game way too easy. Moreover, in some cases, Snake will be actually required to use the first-person shooting. For example, in order to shoot a bomb detonator to disable a laser trap, which I really enjoyed, especially because the developers tried and think outside of the box in some cases in regards to the location of said detonators. And the game even has the mandatory, for the time, hacking minigame. Simple and honestly not that intrusive. In fact, I was pretty surprised by the variety of situations that MGS Mobile throws at you. In other cases, you need to use your camouflage system to pass some color detectors, which, yeah, is as lame as it sounds, but it's a decent excuse to get you to use your new Octo Camo. Basically, you can sample any color from the real world by using the phone's camera or from inside the game world itself. Aside from letting you pass through some color detectors, you can even use it to blend better in the environment by sampling a color that fully matches the wall you're planning to lean to. It even has a camo indicator, and as intriguing as this premise is, the truth is that you barely need to rely on this camo system during the game, with the Solitaire Radar always available and the guards being as dumb as in the early Metal Gear games. But if you choose to rely on that, just know that it can lead to pretty, hilariously unrealistic results. The developers even tried to include as many weapons as they could from the first 2 games, including the tranquilizer gun, the rifle, and even the Nikita missiles are here. All this demonstrates the sheer ambition that the developers had in bringing you the best Metal Gear Solid experience they could, and in many areas, they succeeded. Even the graphics are simply spectacular given the hardware, with its 32-bit look that gives you the same vibes as the first Immortal MGS, except Snake's face is much more detailed than its PS1 counterpart. And the game even goes as far to reuse many of the music tracks from said game, only slightly simplified, but still very effective. In fact, the soundtrack for the first MGS is actually my favorite in the entire series, so I'm very happy to hear it again in this new context. The environments are all bursting with details, and you can clearly tell what's the room's purpose, from the warehouse to the canteen. Almost everything is placed with at least a little bit of logic, weird color detectors aside. Even the VR missions look great, and the game even showcases some awesome trippy effects towards the end. The game really feels like it was tailor-made for the Nokia phones of the time. and it's clear that it's trying to push way above its weight with this kind of graphics and gameplay interactions. Heck, the guards can even call for reinforcements if a guard you previously knocked out is being contacted by his comrades and doesn't answer back, which is something we wouldn't see until MGS2 on the much more powerful PlayStation 2. The game knows it's on a phone and tries its best to accommodate for difficult controls. For example, Snake even auto-aims if you point a gun in the general direction of an enemy. And since mobile gaming is supposed to be bite-sized, the game saves automatically each time you enter a new area.
Sorry, but no Mei Ling this time.
Which is extremely convenient, but also exploitable as all hell. Since if you mess up in a room, you can simply quit and reload your file with the alert status completely cleared.
And you call yourself an agent?
In more than one way, MGS Mobile feels like a tribute game to the first MGS. More or less like Covered Critter, which is my favorite tribute to MGS1. Except Mobile is an official release from 2008 on an obscure phone device. No wonder many of us didn't even know about it. And unlike other Engage games, this one didn't get a physical release anywhere. In fact, it was downloadable exclusively through the Engage 2.0 internet service, along with other great titles, including a pretty good Resident Evil game based on the movie The Generation, and that it's also still exclusive to mobile phones. MGS Mobile was a constant surprise. The only other game in the series that managed to surprise me this much for how much the developers managed to cram into such a small gaming device was the fantastic Ghost Babel on Game Boy Color. MGS Mobile is still an old cell phone game in the end. It's not like all sunshine and rainbows. For example, again, controls aren't as fluid as I'd like with the 4-directional movement. I also got lost in the myriad of rooms sometimes, so I wish I had a more general map at disposal. Still, these are minor issues compared to the great achievements of this game.
You're pretty good.
MGS Mobile doesn't overstate its welcome, since it takes between 2 to 3 hours to complete the game, which is a pretty good value for the roughly $10 you would have spent if you had bought it back in the day. To help in increasing the longevity, there are also the above-mentioned VR missions and even some secret items you can unlock by completing the game or managing to get all the collectibles hidden throughout. Yes, this game even has hidden collectibles. On top of that, you even get ranked based on your performance, like speed, alerts, kills, and so on. So you definitely are encouraged to replay the game more than once to see if you manage to get the best ranks. You see what I mean? This is an extremely ambitious game that feels like a proper Metal Gear Solid experience, and on a mobile phone of all places. It's a damn pity that MGS Mobile is stuck on these old phones, and I think it really needs to be re-released, along with the other spin-offs like Ghost Babel and Portable Ops, heck, even the Acid games. Maybe on an hypothetical Volume 3 of the Master Collection. I mean, why not? Or just emulate it like I did. What do I care? It's not like there is a proper way to play it besides just that. And I mean, if Konami doesn't care, why should we? Because honestly, this game is way better than it has any rights to be. Most of its drawbacks are due to its mobile phone nature, and while this makes it in a way all the more impressive, I can't help but wish this came out for the PSP, or heck, even the Nintendo DS. After all, games like Kingdom Hearts Recoded or Final Fantasy IV The After Years started on mobile phones, but then got converted for either the DS or the PSP. But MGS Mobile simply didn't receive this treatment, and it's a damn shame.
I don't approve of your methods.
MGS Mobile is the right game on the wrong platform. Still, even with the way things are, if you are an avid Metal Gear fan who played everything bearing the series name, or are simply curious about games that punch well above their weight, you owe it to yourself to try Metal Gear Solid Mobile, the best Metal Gear game you never played. But this is just one guy's opinion on the internet, so now I want to know yours down in the comments. Did you play this game? Did you know about the existence of MGS Mobile? What do you think of it? Will you try it out? What's your favorite game in the series?
All of them.
Share your thoughts or memories in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to check out the rest of my Metal Gear coverage on this channel. and maybe leave a like and subscribe. This way you will be always up to speed with my latest content, and you will also help a fellow gamer out.
Did you say nerd?
But really, I just want to thank you so much for spending some of your precious time watching this video to the end. I will be seeing you in my next one, but until then, stay safe, play safe, world gamers.